that the Supreme Court should have, to me, it's really the independence that's very important and primordial. Because from being independent, it all flows down to even with respect to giving everyone their fair shake.
Okay, this is my last question in connection with your answer. No, Madam Chair, do you think you possess a strong character to be above everybody, which would enable you to lead a court with moral ascendancy?
Yes. I truly believe that I have a strong personality. In fact, during my 33 years in Accra Law, and I headed the litigation department composed of 50 lawyers, mostly male,
Yes.
and I was able to, I came into the, that position of being head of the litigation department of Accra Law at a time when so many other lawyers have left. And maybe they had no choice but to give it to me, being the one next in rank.
Yeah.
And I said, how am I going to manage this motley group of mostly young lawyers and try to regain the stature, the reputation of the litigation department of the office? But I was able to do it with the help of those young lawyers, and whom now have accomplished even perhaps more than I have, and I'm very proud of them. And it just takes a lot of consensus building, maybe persuasive skills on my part, and giving credit where credit is due to those who contribute to whatever job is at hand.
Okay.
In the SEC, I would say also that even if I was the newest appointee, and the other 4 commissioners, of course, have their own distinct personalities, I think that there has been no problem us acting as a collegial body.
Okay. On that note, Mr. Chair, I have no more question for Chairman Herbosa. Thank you very much.
Justice Hermo Sisimasena.
Good morning,
Good morning, Your Honor.
Madam Chairman. When in Genesis, when God created man, he felt that Adam was lonely, and so he created woman from the rib of Adam. In your case, this is quite different. Don't you feel that God should give you a partner?
I've lived alone for quite some time, until recently when my sister, who worked abroad for 15 years, came back, and so now there are 2 of us. So I'm used to just being alone, Your Honor.
Well, considering that you have never been a judge before, it's best to remind you that the tremendous inherent power in the hands of the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the Philippines require that those appointed to the position should possess the highest degree of competence, integrity, and judicial prudence. Because the administration of justice is a sacred task entrusted only to individuals with the highest degree of competence. Now, what makes you believe that you deserve the position of Chief Justice of the Supreme Court under these reminders?
Thank you, Your Honor. Probably it's just a matter of self-confidence. Maybe it's something that I have come to that conclusion because of 33 years of private practice and 1.5 years of government service. Not in my wildest dream did I ever think that I would have this opportunity to apply not only for a justice position but for the Chief Justice position no less. It would probably be a leap of faith on the part of the appointing authority to choose any one of us, but I could see that all my co-nominees I would think have all those qualifications. I would like to think that heading the Supreme Court does require all those qualities, because even if you say that you're a graduate of law, you're a lawyer, you've taken your master's and all, it's probably through constant reading of Supreme Court decisions that you'll get to feel how law should be interpreted, and I've done that for 33 years. When it comes to independence, I've already explained my independent thinking from way back. Even my former partners in the office can probably attest to the fact that I'm willing to assert what I think should be done, what is just and right under the circumstances. And as to relationships with other people, in my whole life, felt that people's skills are very important, and I've always trusted and have faith in other people to always act in a civil and reasonable manner, and that there's no one, especially occupying such a high position of Justice of the Supreme Court, who would not be able to discuss matters calmly and arrive at a reasonable decision. It's probably a matter of using persuasion, at the same time my skills in argumentation, but I'm sure that even the others would not anymore consider whether you're an outsider or you're a woman. It's probably how effective, how sincere you are in dealing with them.
We are aware of your excellent academic values, but don't you think that before being Chief Justice, one should first be at least an Associate Justice, or or engage yourself in work before lower courts, so that you can get acquainted with the intricate business of being a Chief Justice?
Your Honor, that would be an advantage, but I think it's an advantage that in other situations could be made up by other qualities or traits. And while I would say it would be easy for me to be able to learn the internal rules of the Supreme Court and to adjust to whatever situation the situation calls for, I'd like to think that since the Supreme Court or the Constitution did not require for an insider or someone who has judicial experience to be qualified for nomination, then I would like to think that the framers of the Constitution did give the benefit of the doubt to lawyers starting from law school, and given the requirement of 15 years of experience, enough qualifications to fill up or to be appointed to positions in the judiciary.
If you are appointed Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, what would be your judicial philosophy?
As I said, my judicial philosophy would be probably characterized by what Honorable Member Attorney Mejia said, that I will consider the Constitution as the law of the land. I will interpret according to what's said in the Constitution, and if that's not possible, then go to the intent of the framers of the Constitution. I realize where the three equal branches come in. We are distinct and separate from each other. The Supreme Court has the duty to be able to restrain the other government entities when it comes to grave abuse of discretion situations, but it should not unduly interfere with the functions of the other two branches.
What subject in law is your forte, Madam Chairman?
Well,
your expertise.
I thought I'm teaching, well, I stopped when I got appointed. I taught remedial law subjects like appellate court practice, civil law procedures, special proceedings, and all that. But if you're asking me about areas of law, I did do or handle a lot of cases involving contract law, public bidding, telecommunications. I even handled aviation cases, and I did a lot of estate cases. Practically the whole gamut of the law.
You did not
maybe
mention,
that was my...
you did not mention criminal law.
Criminal law. It's ironic, Your Honor, that I did get the highest marks in the bar for political law, where I got 97. And then for remedial law, I got 94, I think. And there was one other subject where I was told I also got the highest. But my lowest was criminal law. But fortunately, when I went to practice, that was where I thought I was most successful in. I was given the opportunity to handle a lot of criminal cases. I was able to get the first conviction for the piracy of cassette tapes. I also was able to get the first conviction for fake clothing, a case of unfair competition. And I did handle a criminal case for double murder and frustrated murder. And the person was convicted, although after I presented evidence, he did change his plea to guilt.
I'm asking all of this because you have to realize that the Supreme Court is a court of general jurisdiction. And so it's not enough that you're an expert in one part of the law.
Yes.
You should be well versed in all other subjects of law. So have you handled any heinous crimes like rape, murder, kidnapping, and all this?
Yes. We also got appointed the official for a kidnapping for ransom case. And as I said, I handled already double murder. In fact, the trial of that case was inside Muntinlupa because the person was already detained, and I don't know for what reason I had to go to Muntinlupa and present my evidence.
What did qualify you to be chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission?
If Your Honor, please, I would think it's also my general practice. I handled a lot of commercial litigation. In fact, I do recall handling a case involving the stock exchange. I handled a lot of intra-corporate disputes when that matter was still within the jurisdiction of the SEC. And I did do corporate work before I went to litigation in my former law firm.
In other words, the chief executive considered you as an expert in corporation law.
I believe so, Your Honor.
Now, going to specifics, can an unlicensed foreign corporation doing business in the Philippines sue before the Philippine courts, taking into consideration the ZTE, the PIATCO, and other cases?
what I recall from jurisprudence, that unlicensed foreign corporation cannot sue if it has not gotten the proper license. But I do believe that there's also jurisprudence that says that
So Siatco, GTE cannot sue. Piatco cannot sue.
I don't know the circumstances of those corporations, but I'm just stating a general rule that I know is in several cases of the decisions of the Supreme Court, that if a company is not licensed to do business, unless it's an isolated transaction, then they do have to get a license. But in one case, I know that the company was allowed to get a license just before to pursue the case.
So if the problem of GTE and Piatco comes before you, how will you act?
Well, first of all, if they would be represented by ACRA, I guess I have to disqualify myself.
Does Piatco or GTE be considered as doing business under Section 3D of Republic Act 7042?
The definition of doing business is rather broad. Even just soliciting or offering for sale your services would be considered doing business. But if, as I said, they haven't had that activities on a regular mode, or it's really just an isolated transaction that they took part in some bidding, then they do not fall under the general prohibition of not being able to sue if you don't have a license as a foreign corporation.
Suppose the contract with Piatco was made in a foreign country. Can the problem of Piatco be solved by courts in the Philippines?
Usually, Your Honor, if the contract was made abroad, if there's no arbitration clause, then they could, I think, sue in the Philippines if that's their choice, because the subject matter of the contract involves a Philippine project. I'm not familiar with the
Considering
case.
Section 133 of the Corporation Code, this question was answered in the negative by, in the case of Van Sweden Brothers versus GTL Manufacturing, 523 SCRA 239. Now, you have never applied as a Justice of the Court of Appeals?
No, Your
or
Honor.
Justice of the, or Associate Justice of the Supreme Court?
No, Your Honor.
Not yet. So, from the private practice, you want to go up to the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Justice.
Secretary Mosngi, please.
Good morning, Chairman Nerbosa.
Good morning, sir.
Chairman Nerbosa, do you confirm that you are a direct descendant of our national hero, Dr. Jose Protasio Rizal?
Yes, that's how we term ourselves, as I said, since he himself didn't have any descendant. So all the descendants trace their lineage to him through the sisters or the brother.
Yes, thank you. With such an illustrious progeny, In your opinion, what specific qualities or virtues would mark Dr. Jose Rizal as our which mark Dr. Jose Rizal as our national hero, and which of these qualities do you possess and will be able to demonstrate and put to good use if you become Chief Justice?
I like to think that on a very personal level, the traits that I saw from my grand aunt and my grandfather perhaps were also traits that they probably learned from their uncle. And it would be stated in this way: you are not entitled to any advantage or preference in life. There's no such thing as sense of entitlement. You have to work for everything that you want, and in the process of working for anything that you want, you are not supposed to step on the shoes of other people or be unfair and unjust in your everyday dealings with other people. Of course, there's also the trait of being very thrifty, which Jose Rizal did have. He also was someone who was not afraid to work with his hands. Maybe almost at the same par as his novels. He also did wonders with agriculture. He set up this very good irrigation system in his exile time in the Pitan, and he was of course also a good eye doctor. I remember that he had also asked that some of his nephews, and that was including my grandfather, to go to the Pitan, where he taught them during summer things like reading, writing, and he would give them a lot of puzzles and learning skills, which I think I think was his way of contributing to the development of the youth. In Accra, while I was doing litigation, I suddenly had the mindset to transfer the technology of the skills I've learned. And while I was doing that in Accra itself and training the young lawyers to become good litigation lawyers, I thought, why not go to the law school and even then already impart to them what you've learned in practice and how they should really practice. And so I did go back to law school and started teaching in 2003. And I did get great satisfaction from the fact that I see my students, now lawyers, and sometimes they come up to me, and lately one of them said that she'd like to work for SEC because she'd like to learn more things from me. And those are the things that give me really great fulfillment. I suppose if you look at the life of Jose Rizal, there was really nothing very, very great or significant, because of course he was persecuted by the colonial masters, or he was treated unfairly and sent to exile and then executed. But in his own little way, if you would read all his works and even his letters to his sisters, it would show the fact that he was independent, he was patriotic, very nationalistic, and that is what I also want to be known for, that while I did work for self-improvement, and probably why I'm in this position now, being able to apply for the high position of Chief Justice. It's how people probably viewed you in your everyday meetings with them would be more important to me.
Thank you, Chairman. Madam Chairman, are you a member of any particular faith community?
Faith community? No, I'm Catholic, and I'm not. But I'm not a member of any religion-related community. I am a member of Sonta Club of Manila, Willow Sea, of course, and I am a member of the PDRCI, which is the Philippine Dispute Resolution Center, Inc. That's why because I've done a lot of arbitration in my...
In any case, how much of your personal faith do you think will influence your decisions as Chief Justice of this country?
I've learned that you cannot let personal beliefs interfere in how you decide matters, particularly if you are assessing the facts of the case, evaluating the or appreciating the evidence. There are laws that provide for how this should be done, and that's what you should follow primarily. Personal beliefs or opinions should be set aside in the meantime. And it could be that I would decide something that probably doesn't go with what I believe in privately. But if that law is to be implemented, then I'll make my choice according to my personal belief.
Madam Chair, how would you put your experience and knowledge of corporate governance to effectively manage the judiciary?
I just gave a lecture in Kuala Lumpur early this year on corporate governance, and I noticed, because we were a panel of speakers from all over ASEAN, that our rules on corporate governance are at par with everyone else in the region, and there have been surveys done by private groups interested in the promotion of corporate governance that show that there's been good compliance. To my mind, the objective of good corporate governance is so that people will have trust in those companies and will invest in those companies. And corporate governance with the purpose of increasing the value of the shareholdings such that more investors would put in their money. So it's the same maybe for the Supreme Court. If we follow these principles similar to corporate governance, then the confidence of the people will probably increase, and they'd be willing to invest, rely on whatever decisions or pronouncements the Supreme Court will come out with.
Thank you po. I have just two more questions, Madam Chair. Many big companies in the Philippines have embraced the concept of corporate social responsibility, or CSR, as part of their commitment to support the community, contribute to economic development, and improve the quality of life, environment, and society. My question is, what is your stand on legislating corporate social responsibility to be a required part of operations in Philippine companies? How will you utilize this as an aid to the poverty alleviation program of the administration?
Maybe it's high time that we have a law specifically to encourage even more corporate social responsibility. I did notice, as SEC chair, that we do have a lot of foundations already in the Philippines, and foundations are subject to strict monitoring by SEC. Why is this so? Because they are recipients of big amounts, and they should be able to account for those fundings. Corporate social responsibility need not be mandated. I think each and every corporation should realize that the image of the company would be enhanced by doing not only what their businesses are supposed to be, but in helping the community. I recall a case I handled where the client had put up a big installation, but before they did so, they involved the community in the project, and they opened up all centers to inform them, to make them change some of their ways. so that there will be less degradation of the environment, and to prepare them also for the installation or project of the company. And I think it was successful because there was not too much protest, and even now they're maintaining such community projects.
Salamat po. And as my final question, I think this is an important question to ask of you. Madam Chair, the JBC rules provide that candidates with pending administrative cases are disqualified from being nominated further for consideration by the appointing authority. Do you consider this to be a fair rule? Is a mere pendency of an administrative case a bar to candidates who are, for other reasons, qualified and deserving to join the judiciary?
Yes, that's quite a difficult question because in answer to the earlier question on why I have never applied before was because of the pendency of that case. But I truly believe that it should not be an absolute prohibition. Maybe you have to look into the merits of the case, because I said, unfortunately, there are people who adopt the strategy of intimidating the opposing counsels and filing many cases against them. I don't know, maybe for them to withdraw as counsel. For that particular case, I was also very much disappointed because of the fact that there were other lawyers with me in the team, and we were all cited as respondents. But it involved a charge which was that we had engaged in forum shopping, when precisely the very case that we filed was a petition for annulment of the judgment, which should really be filed with the CA, because you're seeking the annulment of the judgment of the RTC, which to us was because of the failure to give due notice to all the interested parties, when the law on reconstitution of title strictly requires such notice. So it was so unfair, but as I said, it's part of the hazards of the job. And the negative effect was that it did discourage me from applying for a judiciary position, if that was because that may have been the rule. But I do think that more consideration should be given, because there are, as I said, many people who have all the qualifications for becoming judges or justices, and they may have been victims of such baseless suits.
Maraming salamat po, Chair. Good luck po.
Thank you.
Good morning, Attorney Herbosa.
Good morning, Your Honor.
I think you appeared before us in Sandigan Bayan.
Yes,
In,
I'm happy that you remember, Your Honor.
Of course, lawyers from Accra. I remember that case because it involves the coconut levy fund.